Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Get Inside series with Joyce Ajanaku. How's everyone doing? I hope all is well. How was your day? I'm excited about the show today because my special guest is fully loaded. You'll see soon, and I pray that it'll be a blessing to you. And our information, our conversation today will be answers to so many questions that you have about our topic today, which is like savings, finances, investment, retirement, etc. In Jesus' name. So grab your pen and your paper. Believe me, you want to take some notes. I'm going to attempt to read my guest's bio. Mr. Dipo Adesina is a four-time author, serial entrepreneur, a coach, and an inspirational speaker. The gift of being able to merge his business, academics, and life experiences to create a lasting impact on his audience has made Dipo an increasingly sought after speaker globally. He has given keynote speeches, training seminars, and workshops at high school, university, youth conferences, conventions, churches, and organizations, both nationally and internationally. For over a decade, Deepwater has been developing global businesses and empowering people around the world on the importance of investing and owning a business. For the past 5 years, he has been investing in cryptocurrencies and educating people through his crypto wealth program on why this is the best time to key into blockchain, technology, and cryptocurrency. He's also the co founder at Gura Ride, a bike share company in Africa that is dedicated to reducing carbon emission by offering alternative means of transportation with electric or smart bikes and electric scooter. That sounds really exciting. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that when he joins the show. Please help me welcome my very special guest today, the brilliant, very brilliant um, Dipo Hadeshina. Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Thanks a lot for having me, Joyce.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Um, did you have a good day? How was your day? How are you doing? How are you feeling?
I did. It's been pretty good. Had to take my kids for their orientation at school, so that was pretty
Good.
fun. And then
Yes,
ran to
yes,
the
it's always
office for
fun.
this.
Yes. Are they excited to start this new school year?
Absolutely,
Oh, good,
absolutely.
good. I think we're more excited though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So thank you so much for coming on the show. And I think I sent you a message, and you said let's do it. Thank you so much again. I
My
know you're
pleasure.
very busy. Thank you so much. I know you're
You're
very busy, so I do appreciate you gracing our studio today. Um, I think I attempted to read your bio, but
sure.
as a way as a way of greeting and just getting to know our audience, I don't know if there's anything I missed that you would like to add, you know with there's so many hats that you wear about your business or what you do, just to begin before we start our conversation.
I mean, I think just to kind of sum it all up, I'm all about finance and helping people become more financially prudent. And on a personal, note, I definitely do operate several businesses, but my passion is really just to empower people to be more financially prudent and financially free.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. And then online, I've been watching a lot of your videos, so you may
Thank
hear me say quote you here on
you. Sure.
the show. So really, really good stuff. I have a few questions for you. Well, I won't say a few, but I'll try to, maybe move as quickly as I can because I
Okay.
really want you to, talk about your crypto wealth program and how people can be a part of that and how, they can also get into what you do as well as a businessman and entrepreneur. So let's get started. I think I'd like to start with savings, if that's fine. Um,
Absolutely.
I know for the longest, it took me a while to create a saving habit and consciously save. So why do you think it's something is like a challenge or is difficult for people to save, especially in our community?
Yeah. So I think because we got to realize right from birth, really, we've been programmed to spend money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most people have no idea of the concept of putting money aside, not just for emergency, but investment purposes. So the culture that we're in, especially in the United States, has everything flashing in our eyes, right? And by default, consciously and subconsciously, when you have money, you want to spend it on things that are very attractive, right? So people, the environment that we're in does not encourage savings, which is why you have to really just take it upon yourself to be more interested in learning about finances, right? Schools don't teach about money, and I've always thought it was interesting that we spent 20 plus years of our lives in school and not one single subject was on financial literacy or personal finance. So
Mm-hmm.
because of that, there's really not a lot of value placed on, savings, investing. We're just programmed to go to work, make money, spend money. And that's predominantly why I think people don't save money.
Right, right, right. Now, for someone who desire to have a healthy savings habit, what are some tips that you could share with us?
Yeah, I think so. The easiest way to cultivate the habit of saving will be to create a system, right? It's extremely difficult for you to want to save every time money enters your bank account because, once again, you have so many things calling the attention of your money. So, one of the things that I teach my mentees is that if you want to cultivate the habit of saving money, then you want to set up a system whereby if you're working, have a portion of your income, could be 5%, it could be 10%, go directly into a separate account that you don't have access to, right? And the good example that I always give people is taxes, right? Every time you get paid, taxes come out of your paycheck. You don't miss it because it's by default. So now, using the same mindset, if you had $500, $100 come out of every paycheck going into a separate account that you don't, it's your account, but you don't have access to it, you're not going to miss that money, right? But the moment that money enters your bank account, forget about it. You're going to spend it on something and you're not going to think about saving money.
Right, right. So true. So true. Um, so, um, some financial habits and values that I have now, I think I've learned from my parents.
Hmm.
And since I was very little, and I still practice them till date. But
Nice.
how early can you start with your children, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think as early as possible. I mean, from elementary school, once they start to comprehend the concept of buying
Mm,
something, like for example, I teach my children about money all the time. There's a game that we actually play. It's called Cash Flow for Kids by Robert Kiyosaki. So
mm,
that game teaches you about expenses and saving money, investing money. And I, even though my kids are so young, they get upset when they see their money dwindling from the board game. So automatically, it's programming them to realize that, hey, when you make money, the first thing you want to do is not to go and buy candy, right? You want to put a little bit
exactly.
in your jar for saving purposes. You want to put a little bit aside for investment purposes so your money can grow. So those little things, when you sow it into their minds when they're young, by the
Mm,
time they get older, it's a different ball game for them.
I love it. And then you mentioned that your kids are young. How young are they, like in terms of like to get the concept of saving?
They're
How
set.
young are
They're 9, 7, and 4. My 4 year
they?
old really doesn't comprehend yet. My
Yes.
7 year old okay, but my 9 year old he pretty much they both they so even though they have a bank account, but they also
Mm,
have jars where they put dollar bills, money that I give to them. So they like the idea of their money growing, right?
mm,
Which is, I mean, just like adults, if you're investing in something, you don't want to touch it because you want it to continue to grow, and
mhm.
that's the same mindset they have.
Yes, yes, yes. I love it. Yes. Well, and I heard you. I think in one of your videos, you said something about you stopped saving for your children like a few years ago because it didn't make sense to keep that money tied up in an account from a business standpoint. And then you said you started investing in cryptocurrency for them. I find that really fascinating. I thought that was an interesting idea. Maybe can you maybe talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So the whole idea of saving for me is not so that I can just have money sitting, sitting around. That's what most people do. They just want to feel comfortable or have $10,000 in the bank. And it gives them a sense of internal peace.
Mhm.
For me, the whole essence of saving is you have something for emergency, then you have money to invest so that your money can grow. So for my kids being so young, it really makes absolute no sense for me to have money just sit there in the account when I consciously know that the banks are using that money to invest in other things, right?
Mm,
So
mm,
because they're so young, really they don't have any emergencies, right? That money is not being allocated to different assets, right? So we talk about crypto, we talk about stocks, anything that can, even life insurance, right? With cash value. So I
mm,
do things for them that I know that by the time they turn 20, 30 years old, they will never have to worry about money again, right? But once
mm,
again, this is just my personal strategy for my kids. I've seen other people, not agree with what I do, especially on my videos on social media. But once again, you can do whatever you want. But I just felt like this is a great strategy to help my kids prepare for their financial future.
absolutely, absolutely. And it's so interesting that parents, we are the ones that will make that, I guess, decisions for them when they're really young, because
Yep.
they don't maybe know which way to go. Also, just looking at, spending, and you mentioned something about, getting cash, and the next thing is maybe blow it up. So I've heard people who genuinely wants to save, but they're struggling because they're a heavy spender. From this perspective of a maybe husband and wife or a couple, how can you caution a spender?
So usually in a couple, you have a spender, you have a saver, and just like you have an introvert and an extrovert as couples, right? So it's always the opposite attracting each other for some strange
Mm,
reason.
yeah.
I think the important thing is for the couples to kind of be on the same page and acknowledge who's the spender, who's the saver. That's very crucial. Then, secondly, they want to make sure that they have goals, right? What is our goal as a family? Because if you don't have goals, then obviously the other person is just spending money. So,
Mm,
for example, in our home, we have multiple accounts. My wife has her own account. She can spend on whatever she wants. I have my personal account. I can spend on whatever I want. I'm not a spender anyway, but I still have my account. Then we have an account for, where we contribute money together, right? For
yeah.
investment and things like that. Then account for bills. So it's like structure in there. So that way I'm not on my wife's neck, like, hey, why are you spending all this money? Right? She's
Mm,
not on my neck. She can help whoever she wants to help. I can help whoever I want to help. So the key thing in the family is creating a structure that gives each person the autonomy to be
mm,
able to do what they want with their money, but at the same time, understanding that, hey, we still got to put money aside for emergency, for investing, and for our kids.
mm, 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 mm. And I love the way you broke it down because it makes so much sense. And it's coming from like a guru like you, a professional who has been doing this for a while. It's interesting. Just the I guess your perspective and the way that is practical to you.
Sure.
Um, I heard you say people who live to gratify all their wants and desires can never accomplish financial freedom. That leads me to ask, how can I tweak my spending habits to prepare for that financial freedom?
It's very easy. You just got to identify what are your wants and what are your needs, right? We all want a big house. We all want Tesla. We all want like good things that life has to offer, right? And that's the essence of life, to enjoy our money. But the truth of the matter is there's time for everything. You know what I mean? And when you understand that, you're not in a rush to get to where you're going to get to anyways, but you build that foundation to kind of get to that position, right? Unfortunately, most people are living way beyond their means. I
Mm,
mean, you're working. I mean, I've known personally people who they got a house that was too big for their family. But the whole concept of, oh, I own a home, but you're not sleeping at home because you're working two, three jobs, right? To pay bills. That's not a lifestyle that you want to live. That's not even a lifestyle, right? So you start where you are. If you have to downsize, I tell people all the time, I've downsized so many times because I realized that, look, if I'm going to be extremely wealthy, Dave Ramsey says something that I've never forgotten. I read this book
mm,
maybe when I graduated college in 2008. He said, live like no one else now so that you can live like no one else.
Hmm.
And I don't know if that makes sense. In other words, you have to do certain things that nobody else is willing to do right now, right?
Hmm.
It's going to be painful, it's going to be sacrificial, but when you get this right, by the time you start living like no one else, meaning you can buy whatever car you want. You
Hmm.
can wake up today and say, hey, you know what? I want to go to Paris. You book a flight, you go for a weekend, and you come back. That's living like no one else, but you've already paid the price. Unfortunately, people are not willing to pay the price, but they want to live the good life, but ultimately it catches up to you.
Wow. Yes, yes, yes. And I'm smiling because this is such so good. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Yes, yes, yes. And let's talk a little bit about investment, right? Or investing. I have um, people who say, or people say this, and I've also heard you maybe mention this on one of your videos, um, that you should pay yourself first. So why do you have to pay yourself first after like a paycheck?
Yeah. So, as a Christian, even though I don't say that in my videos, I do pay my tithe first. Because I always get somebody in my video that will always comment, you should be paying your tithe first. Well, I do that, but I also understand that a lot of people are not Christians, right? So I can't
Mhm,
impose my own personal beliefs on other people. But
mhm,
now that aside, it is extremely important to understand that if you're going to build wealth, and I've read a lot of books, I've studied a lot of wealthy people, the number one principle that they all abide by is that they pay themselves first.
mm,
And to me, it's very logical. I mean, if I work 40, 80 hours in 2 weeks, why would I take all that money and give it to someone else because it's a bill, right? Oh, I gotta pay my mortgage, I gotta pay my phone. I understand that. You choose some of these things, we actually chose them. But for me, I feel like when I pay myself first, number one, I deserve it because I did all the hard work. Number two, it helps me to prepare for my future.
mm,
So I would rather cut a bill off than not pay myself, or even maybe be a couple of days late on a bill because the bill will always be there.
yeah,
Here's what I always tell people, Joyce: before we were born, there were bills.
hmm,
Where I live right now, there's still bills.
yes,
And you
sir.
know what will happen when we die? There still be bills. In fact, some of our bills will be transferred to our loved ones. So
Hmm,
when you understand that look, bills are not going anywhere.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like if you understand it's not going anywhere, then why should you overwork yourself to pay for something that will never end?
mm,
Versus you working, you putting money aside to know that hey, this money right here is going towards creating financial freedom for me, and whatever's here is going towards helping me maintain my lifestyle. I pay my bills. So that's
mm.
just my sense on that.
Yes, yes. And then you mentioned about something about reading so many books. Do you have any favorites, like favorite investment books that you
I,
can like
I
recommend?
really don't because I just like the other day okay, I'll show you, right. So I just bought these two. This is my two books I'm reading right now. So I interested was on my book. So book on Elon Musk. I was
Mm,
just talking to a friend of mine and he just mentioned a book. I was like, I'm gonna just get it, and phenomenal book. This other book, I just walked into a business partner's office and I just was looking through his book and I just saw the title. I loved it and I bought it. Right. So that's usually how, like, if I like the title, I like the table of content, I buy the book. And then what I usually do is I'll read through the table of content. The ones that actually pops out to me, I read it. Once I'm done, I put the book away. Right. So I don't really have a favorite book.
yeah.
The book that I do read every day though is my Bible. I feel like there's so many wealth gems,
Mm,
especially even about money,
yes,
that
sir.
people, a lot of Christians don't even know. I'm like, yo, you can't be a Christian and be struggling financially. Like the two don't go hand to hand.
Mm,
You apply the principles in the Bible, whether you're a Christian, a Muslim, a Buddhist, it doesn't matter. You apply the principles, you will be successful. So
mm.
yeah,
Amen. Yeah, that's interesting that you said that. The word, and then I guess the reason why we're having one of the reasons why we're having this conversation is you believe what the scriptures say, but then how do you practicalize those things, right?
absolutely.
For some people, yeah, I understand how my money can work for well, having faith and believing that all wealth, everything good and perfect gifts come from God, but then how can you apply what you have now? The
Mhm.
fund that you have now or the job that you do, how can you use that, set aside some money for investment or a rainy day emergency fund? And that this is why I'm so excited about this conversation. You did mention something also about, bills and paying bills, and I know, of course, they come the same time every month, like people say, and we gotta pay them. How can you separate savings fund from investments?
Very good. You need multiple accounts, right?
Mm,
You got to have multiple accounts. The mistake that people make, Joyce, is that when you say savings, they're thinking of one account. Okay, I'm saving money. Well, what is the purpose of that saving? Some
mm,
people don't know. They just want to tuck money away. So obviously, you mentioned a couple of things. You've mentioned this quite a number of times, Joyce. Emergency funds. That's money you set aside should anything happen, right? We all have emergencies. Unfortunately, because a lot of people don't have emergency funds, they tap into credit cards to take care of, like, you know what I'm saying, like emergencies. So when you have like $1,000 set aside, number one, it gives you peace of mind knowing that you don't have to borrow money and you're able to take care of business. Number two, you have a separate account where that money is strictly for investing, right? I have another account where that money is strictly for giving to help people. So I always tell people the moment my giving account is depleted, you can have the craziest emergency in the world. You got to wait till next month, right?
mhm.
My emergency, that one is just there, right? And then my investing, I don't touch that for anybody, not even for my family member. That's my future money. That's what
Mm,
I'm using to build wealth for my family. So, like I said before, you got to have structure in place if you're going to become financially free, right? And you can still pay your bills. And, I think we might get to this. It's not about how much money you're saving, it's about cultivating the habit. So
mm.
even if you're saving $1 in each bucket or each account every pay period, you're cultivating a wealthy habit. Eventually, you'll see that and you're like, okay, what happens if I put $100 away? What happens if I cut this cable off for 6 months and just tuck that money away? Your mind start to work, and when your mind start to work, magical things start to happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes. And I think you talked about that a little bit. I was going to ask you, how much do you have to have a huge amount of money to start investing? And I think you touched on that right there. I don't believe you to have like a huge amount of money. It could just be a little bit. Yes, yes, yeah, yeah. Put away
Yeah,
every month. Yes, yes, sir.
yeah.
Good.
Even if it's $20,
Yes,
if that's all you got, look, life is all about habits. It's not about how much, whatever the case may be. It's cultivating habits that will help you to get to where you want to be.
awesome, awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Good. This is really good. For like budgeting, and I know people talk about budgeting all the time, or rather, some people may not see the need to budget because maybe they're financially comfortable.
Sure.
How important is budgeting?
Extremely important. I mean, budget is simply you telling your money where you want it to go, right?
Mm,
If you're not budgeting, your money's telling you where you want, where it wants you to go. So
mm,
that's when you see like a nice bag. Oh, I got to get that. So that's your money telling you, hey, I want that, right?
right.
But when you tell your money, hey, um, you know, this week, this paycheck, I want my money to go into a savings account. I want my money to buy crypto. I want my money to buy that stock. You're dictating what you want your money to do. When you
Mm,
don't have a budget and money comes into your account, at that point, your money is in full control. Your money tells you, oh, man, I've worked hard this week. Let's go out to have fun. You spend $100. Or you see a nice bag. Let me grab that. So before you know it, you're back to square zero and you're waiting on the next paycheck
right.
because you never actually planned for your money. So if you're going to be successful, you gotta have control over your money. It just there's no way around it.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And in terms of like budgeting, because I
Yeah.
know some people don't really know where to start or what to do. Do you just get a sheet of paper and document what you do weekly or monthly? Do you have any recommendations or budgeting templates you can use, or do you just pull up Excel or an app and just to make it easier for people? What can you do? How can you get started with budgeting?
Well, I have an Excel template that I use that literally just lists all my bills, everything, the dollar amount, the dates they're due. So when I go, I mean, it's kind of old school, but I'm able to just tick, all right, this one is done. Highlighted green. That means it's paid for the month. All that kind of good stuff. There's another app that I use, and that app just basically allows me to track all my expenses and my income. So as money comes in, our income just made this from a course or whatever. When money
Yeah.
goes out, this is an expense. So at the end of the month, I can see exactly where all my money went. The beauty of that, Joyce, is that I'm able to make adjustment. All right, well, I
Mm.
spent a lot of money doing this month. Next month, it's going to be a different conversation. So you're able to control what's going to happen to your money the following month by just having that structure in place.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. That's great. That's great. Um, and let's talk about maybe risk taking. For example, some people have had terrible deals or feel they had a few maybe bad investments, and they're maybe a little scared in terms of maybe trying again. What would be your advice for someone who had a few bad deals or investment and is probably maybe scared to try again?
Sure. That's I always like those type of questions. So there is not a single person on this planet that is wealthy that has not lost crazy amount of money in
Mm,
investment in bad business deal. Not a single person. Even Jesus had a thief on his team. So if
mm,
Jesus had a thief on his team, I mean, I'm not quite sure how you want to expect to have a smooth ride when it comes to investing. It's part of the process, right? The
mm,
key is how do you minimize and control your losses, right? Or what you invest in. Unfortunately, too many people are looking for get rich quick, right?
mm,
Especially within our community. Trust me, I see them all the time. Anytime you invest in something that is not proven or somebody promising you a massive ROI within a short period of time, you are going to lose money, right? It's
mm,
just no way around it. Part of building wealth is that it requires time for money to grow and compound, right? So if you invest in stocks and crypto, solid company with great, product line, whatever the case may be, and you're doing it for the long term, it's hard to lose money. So,
mm,
Joyce, now if you ask whoever this person is, you ask them, what did you invest in, for example? How did you lose money? You'll realize number one, somebody told them about
mhm,
something that they can make a lot of money. They didn't do their due diligence, or they were just so greedy that they just wanted to get involved. That's number one. Number two, they're probably dealing with people who don't have any business experience and just sold them a deal, especially our peoples,
mm,
right? They tell
mm.
you something back home. Oh, if you do this and that, and without doing your research, you're so excited, you're pumping a lot of money. The case is different, right?
Mm,
So you have to be extremely prudent
yeah.
when it comes to investing, right? Know
Mm,
the people you're dealing with, be knowledgeable about what you're investing in, even crypto, for example. I've had some of my mentees who came on board with us, they invested in, they call them shit coins, right? I hate
mm,
to use that word. And these are projects that have no intrinsic value. They're not
mm,
adding value to anybody, but gives you the potential to actually make a lot of money. Of
mm,
course, people rush into it before you know it, they lose all their money
mm.
because they didn't do their due diligence. So investing is about knowing what you're getting involved with, knowing the right people, and also have keeping in mind that part of investing requires time for money to grow, and it's not get rich quick.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then now that we're talking about cryptocurrencies, do you think it's safe with the way the I guess the economy and the state of the economy now? Do you think crypto is viable investment asset at this time?
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, it's also like the stock market, right? When you invest in the stock market, right now the stock market is down, right? It's almost like saying, all right, is it safe to invest in the stock market? Well, it's a bear market. So you have bull market and you have bear market. It's a
Mm,
cycle that always happens. So right now we're in a bear market. For those who are wise, the best time to invest is during a bear market,
mm,
right? Because the price of everything is low. So when you buy things when they're low, you're able to ride it up when it's actually performing.
yeah,
Unfortunately, most people buy things when the price is actually at the top, and then when it start to crash, they start losing money, right?
right. Hmm, interesting. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can
Oh,
hear you.
good. Oh, good. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that. Yes, yes. Because I was just thinking, I know there are several tons of cryptocurrencies out there, and also, in this type of economy, how do you identify like the best crypto to invest in?
Number one, you have to be in a space, or know people who are already in a space, and number two, you got to do research. So one of the reasons why we created our course about a year or two, about 2 years ago now, was because I was getting tons of people asking me, hey, Deepa, what should I buy? What should I invest in now? It was a lot easier for me to tell, Joyce, all right, Joyce, just do this, go to this app, do this. That's one person. But when people kept on coming left and right, social media, I was like, look, I can't, I just don't have the time. So we just created a course to literally guide people from A to Z on, everything you need to know about crypto, right? And then created a mentorship program around that to be able to still guide people throughout the process. It's been probably one of the best things I've done, because to see how people's finances have transformed
Mm.
just through our program is just, it's a remarkable thing.
Yes, yes. And then with that, so now that you're talking about your program now, so for people who want to get in touch with you on social media and um, just maybe interested in your program, the crypto uh,
Mhm.
wealth program, how
Yeah.
can we do that? How can we get in touch with you with
Sure.
that?
Well, my social media handles are Dipo_Adesina. Now, when you type in my name, Dipo Adesina, you'll probably see plethora of fake accounts. Unfortunately, I can't control that. But
Yes.
the one with the highest follows, that's usually my account. And then for the crypto, you can go to our website, www.cryptowealthsquad.com. And then you'll be able to see like what we offer, the mentorship, the testimonials, all that good stuff.
Great, great, awesome, awesome. And I think I may have just a few other, just a few questions for you before I let you go. I'm looking at the time too because I know you're very busy.
Sure, sure.
Um, so in terms of just going back, because you mentioned your program, and I wanted you to really talk about that. And I'm gonna add the information also on the screen later on.
Okay.
When what leads to financial, I heard you say something relating to this, that what leads to financial freedom is understanding how to multiply your money and make your money to continue to work for you. So what's an ideal like risk tolerance level that you should have, maybe someone who aspire to be an investor, for instance?
Mid risk is still fine, even low risk. Like you can, whether you're low risk, mid risk, or high risk, there's something for everybody. The
Mm,
only difference, Joyce, is that the reward, right?
hmm.
Low risk, for example, you can put your money in CDs and bonds, and you're getting paid like 1-2% annually. That's very low because you're not losing a dime, right? But
Yeah,
with that option, you're also not earning a lot compared to the other types of investments that you can do, mid and high risk, which has high risk, mid risk, and higher rewards, right? So it's
yeah,
all about what you're comfortable with from a risk level, that would determine how quickly your wealth grows, right? Personally, I'm a very high risk taker, so high risk, high rewards type of deal.
hmm, hmm. Yes, yes, yes. And relating to still around like investments, I heard you say like law of continuity or multiplication, how to make your like your return on investment to continue to work for you. You said that. So what investment benchmark do you use personal, or can maybe give someone, you don't have to maybe go into what you use, but then as an advice to someone out there who are kind of is trying to figure out to get themselves into this space,
What do you mean by benchmark?
like in terms of measuring your allocation of funds and deciding where they go, like the level of return, and how you measure, like, okay, maybe this is a risk I want to take, or maybe step back. So,
Gotcha. So, I mean, it really, because I have cash flow coming in from different angles. So it really all depends on what's coming at me at that particular time. So I don't have a situation I'm saying, okay, maybe 20%. Like when I invest, I go all in. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm that type of guy. I'm not afraid to lose. I've lost a lot of money. I've also,
yeah,
made a lot of money. So, like I said, I'm a high risk taker. If you present an opportunity to me, I look at the fundamentals. It makes sense, and I see the potential. I'm going all in. Most people can't do that because you can't. If you lose everything, you don't know how to get that money back because you've worked all your life to save that money. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? But that's the beauty of an entrepreneur. You have money coming in from different angles, so you're not really bothered so much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for that. And then maybe I just have a few more for you. Just a few more. Knowing what you know now as an investor, an entrepreneur, a financial coach, if you have 10K to invest today, like say you have it in your hands and you can actually show it to me now, what would you do differently? How will you utilize that fund?
Right now, so this is not a financial advice. If I
Yes.
had 10K, um, I would definitely put my money into crypto.
Mm,
Knowing just because I know what I know. And right now, the best time for it, Joyce, investors are super excited during bear market. It's like Black Friday because
mm,
everything that you want goes on sale. After Black Friday, you know what happens, Joyce? The same thing you bought on Black Friday goes back to normal price. But the
mhm,
difference in the world of crypto and stocks is that after Black Friday, they just don't go back to normal price. It
mhm,
exceeds the normal price. So
mm,
people like me, I'm to be honest with you, Joyce, every day I'm checking my crypto, like different cryptos that I'm watching. I'm praying, Lord, let these things continue to go down. Because some people are praying for it to go up because they're thinking, well, I'm losing money. But I don't care if my portfolio is going down because I'm thinking long term. So
mm.
as it goes down, I'm dollar cost averaging my way and buying more at a very discounted price.
Yes,
So when you have that mindset, you don't care if what you bought at $50 went to $1. You just buy more at $1 because you know it's going back up during a bull market. So
yes.
if I had $10,000, definitely cryptocurrency would be somewhere I want to be putting my money into. The right crypto projects, though.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for that. And then
Right.
just as we wrap up here, so talking about retirement, I heard you say in one of your videos, index universal life, and
Mhm.
you talk, of course, you talk about crypto currencies a lot. So where does that leave our 401ks, our IRA, our pension, social security? Can you really rely on those for retirement?
You can. I just will make them my primary source of or my only source of retirement, right? Even looking at the state we're in, an average person has about $192,000 saved for retirement. I'm talking about people in their late 50s and 60s. You're
Mm,
not surviving on that type of money, right? You're not surviving on pension. You're not surviving on IRA with the interest rate going up, with inflation going up, and your money is fixed. There's no way. So you need to be able to create multiple streams of income. You see
mm,
what I'm saying? Position yourself properly. And that's what I try to teach a lot of young people because some of the people that I consult with, they're much in like their 50s and 60s. And I feel so sad because there's really nothing I can tell you to help you because you wasted or lost so much time, and time is money. So if you don't do things right when you're young, you will pay the price later. And that goes back to what I was talking about earlier, Joyce, when I said, sacrificing,
mm.
living like no one else now, so you can live like no one else later. You know what I'm saying? Both are going to happen. It just is it going to be in your favor or not in your favor, right? So yeah.
Yes, sir. Wow. Wow. And thank you for that because that we all need to hear that. And how many source of income, because you did say that, how many source of income do you think an average person should have? Like dividend income, royalty income, and what kind of, I guess, type of investment do you think we need to kind of put our money in to get to that financial freedom as relate to retirement?
You need about 3 to 5. You know what I'm saying? I even think that's small, man. I can't even count how many more. I mean, if it makes money and it's legit, I'm on it. So I can't count like, oh, this is how much I have because I'm an opportunist. I seize every opportunity to make legal money, right? So I won't necessarily say tie yourself down, but you definitely need a minimum of three. And I'm not talking about having 3 jobs, right?
Mhm.
Um, 3 different sources that money you can have your main job, you can have a side business, something that's bringing you. If you're making an extra $500 a month, that's an extra $6,000 a year. That is life changing to a lot of people.
Yes, sir.
$6,000 added to your current income. So when you start thinking like that, you don't limit yourself into your job alone.
Mm,
And I find it very difficult to imagine how people only rely on one source of income, your job.
mm,
I mean, since I was a kid, I've never been at a point in my life when I only have one source of income. I don't know what it's like. It's a very dangerous place to be
mm,
because when you go into work, I used to work at a law firm as a IT training specialist, and when a lawyer is about to get let go, we know ahead of time.
mm,
You see what I'm saying? But they're coming to work. They don't know today's their last day. They just walk through the door and we already like locked the system. We've already done the whole thing. Like, thank you. We take their laptop, they pack all their stuff, and boom, they go back out the door. They didn't know that was the last day. You see what
Mhm.
I'm saying?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
their leadership knew that. So
Yeah.
my point is, if you only got one source of income and you're happy, you're making 6 figures, 7 figures, and you think life is good, what happens tomorrow? You go in and say, oh, man, we don't need your service no more. We got a robot that can do what you're doing, or we got somebody else that we can pay less to do exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
That is a very terrifying place to be. But if you have multiple streams of income, oh, we don't need you today. Okay, well, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys for having me for a couple of years, because you got other things making you money.
Right.
So
Right. You just say deuces. I'll see you later.
yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Yeah, awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you again. Thank you so much. And then we're kind of at the end now. I don't know, what are other things that you like to maybe share with people? Like maybe encourage someone who is maybe hesitant to launch out, start a new business or venture into something new, and they have this fear of the unknown. They're not sure what to do. What would be your advice to that person as they maybe close out now?
sure. My advice would be to understand that life is a risk. Everything that we do is a risk. When you leave your house in the morning, it's a risk. When you're driving down the street, it's a risk. When you go to your job, it's a risk, right? It's just different types of risk because anything can happen. Investing is a risk,
Yeah.
right? Starting a business is a risk.
Mm,
A couple of or several years ago, I quit my 9 to 5 job, making good money, but I want to, and I was doing great. They didn't want me to leave, but I wanted to know what it felt like not to have a fixed income,
yeah.
not to have a 401k, not to have health insurance from a company. I just wanted that. I have 3 kids and a wife. You see what I'm saying? But I
Yeah.
just wanted to know what that felt like for the first time in my life. But I also knew that I gotta grind it out with the moment I make that shift. So I made the move, and I'm telling you right now, Joyce,
Yes.
that's the best decision I've ever made in my life, because
Mm,
now
mm,
I'm able to see so many opportunities. I'm able, like, what I make and my job, I can make that in like 2 to 3 months. You see what I'm
mm.
saying? Because now I'm free, and I'm more open to ideas and opportunities that I really couldn't see when I was working in a corporate environment. So
Mm,
if you've had, if God has put business ideas in your mind, some people have been approaching you about this right here, might be the perfect thing you need to hear for you to take that leap of faith to start a business, to start
yeah.
investing. Because
Mhm.
the more you delay, the more you're postponing your financial freedom. There's no questions about it. So if you want to be financially free, start taking action today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Bible say faith without works is dead. Yeah, we have to like
Absolutely.
do the work, and
Yeah.
I appreciate you for saying that. And then, just one last thing. I don't know if there's anything else you want to mention about your crypto wealth program. If there's anything in the works that's coming, is there a class we can start now, or something later on next month, or a couple something in the pipeline that you want to
Well,
go?
yeah, if you go on our website, the course is $1,000. You know what I'm saying? So if you go on the website, you can check that out. We also have another course that's it was a boot camp that I did a couple of weeks ago. It's a wealth boot camp, right? Just to kind of teach you different, excuse me, different strategies that I use to actually build wealth and things that you can potentially start doing. Amazing program. You can check that out. Check that out as well. And then I do consult as well, like 60-minute consultation for people just looking for, deeper. What do I do? How can I do this? That's been very helpful for a lot of people who just been stuck, right? So I'm able to give you like more meat, and customize something for yourself to help you get from where you are to where you need to be. So whatever I can do to help people, I try to create systems, right? Where I don't have to spend so much of my time with one person. If you just go to the website, you purchase this course, I'm helping more people. That's another multiple stream of income, right? Putting my skills and my knowledge into a product to help the masses. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So like there's so many ways to make money. You just got to think outside the box, right? But ultimately understanding that it's not about making money, but it's about adding value to people. And the more you add value to people, the more money you make.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Not a problem.
I'm so glad this conversation has been very informational. Thank you. Thank you so much for all the information you have graciously shared with us today.
My pleasure.
We look forward to having you back on the show again.
Awesome.
Hopefully, you'll come back.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Hopefully, you'll come back. So, thank you so much. I'm gonna put all your information on the or on the when we this does actually go live, so that way
Okay.
we can get in touch with you online. I think I've held you so much enough. So,
Excellent.
so I want to say thank you again for coming on the show. I really truly appreciate your time. Thank you
My
so much.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks
All
a lot for having
right.
me, Joyce.
All
Bye bye.
right. Take care. Bye bye. All right, everyone. That was a great conversation. I mean, that was really, really a great conversation. Um, I want to say thank you again to our guest. I hope this was a blessing to you as it was to me. I enjoyed our conversation, and I hope this answered, some questions that you have about saving, investing, retirement. You can also catch up with our show, our previous shows on YouTube on the Get Inspired series with Joyce. We are on social media everywhere, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Get Inspired series with Joyce. Again, thank you to our special guest, Mr. Dipo Adesina, and thank you to all of you also for watching. God bless you. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.